And welcome back. Bruce Porter joins us now for this week's Dollars and Cents segment, sponsored by the Resource Center. Good to see you again. Thanks for coming in.
Good to be here.
Always good to see you.
Yep.
All right. Today, talking about insurance.
Yeah.
And that's one of those kind of things where you forget about it after a little while, and that could be a little detrimental.
And you say your topic today is not being a passive investor.
Yeah.
So what does that have to do with that old insurance
here's
policy?
What's that mean. You know, people sometimes will come to me and go, I'm trying to figure out how to pay my bills. I'm trying to find money to save, things like that. And it's inevitable when they get to looking around. They've had an old life insurance policy. They possibly was given to them by their parents that their parents bought years ago. And in some cases, people are still paying premiums on those old life insurance policies. Now, the situation is if you're trying to find some cash to retire some debt or whatever,
right,
you need to be looking to see if there's any of that laying around in the house. Hundreds of times people have come and said, we found these in my mom's house. I don't know if they have any value. And we look into it, and there's $3 or $4 or $5 or $10,000 laying there that's been laying there for years, and nobody has really tapped it.
You know what? My brother was in the insurance industry many years ago, and my parents bought a policy from him probably to do him a favor.
Yeah.
I had no idea it existed. I found it, but it builds up cash value.
Yeah, it does.
Depending on the policy.
The old policies, you keep them for years and years, and they build up value. So really, when you get to the determination of whether you should keep it or not, there's questions you need to ask yourself. So what's the purpose of the policy? Well, it's usually to retire, protect debt, protect the family. Well, these are policies you've had for years. And you know what? Are you still paying premiums or not? Sometimes people are still paying premiums $5, $6, $8 a month or once a year, and they just kind of forget about it. And what's the rate of return on the cash value that's built up in the policy? I think that's important because money becomes stagnant and it's just laying there. And insurance companies, old insurance companies, are wealthy because what happens, people are still paying premiums. They forget. They don't get put on a list. They never get a claim filed on them. And eventually, where does it end up? Unclaimed property, state of Missouri. So now, what's the difference between the death benefit and the cash value? So I'm going to give you an example of that. And who are the beneficiaries? Maybe they've died. Maybe it's different. And so what happens when a claim is filed and the beneficiary has been deceased, that potentially could end up in a probatable situation, or you're having to search for previous death certificates to try to prove the lineage of your family.
Oh, what a mess.
So it creates a mess. So now here's an example of one that I've recently dealt with. The death benefit was $11,500. The cash value was $10,800. It had an annual dividend of $172, which on the surface is a 1.59% increase in cash value and all that. Now, they were still paying premiums of $76 a year. So the dividend's $172, they're paying in $76. So the actual dividend is $96 plus the annual premium. That's the $172. So the question becomes, can you make more than $96 a year on $10,800? And if you died, granted, it's going to pay $11,500 tax-free.
How many, I mean, you have to still look at how many years you've been paying, too.
Well, yeah.
Because after a while, you're just giving them free money.
This was originally a $5,000 policy from 1943. So they've been paying premiums all these years. So my point is, take this times probably millions of people that have got a similar situation. So if you're trying to find old money, or trying to find money, period, and you're trying to maybe pay off a credit card or whatever, look and see if there's not life insurance policies that maybe your parents got for you, or maybe that's laying around in grandma's drawer, because there's literally millions of dollars of unclaimed benefits. The state of Missouri unclaimed property is over $1 billion. And so when you consider that, Pay some attention. Don't be passive.
Right.
This is not a time to be passive. Look and make sure you understand what you have, and always call if you have a question.
Be a more active investor, for
There's our
sure. All right,
QR
if you
code.
have a financial question for Bruce, scan that QR code right there on your phone, and it'll take you right to his website, or go to resourcecenterinc.com, or just pick up the phone, give him a call at 417-882-1800. But give him just a couple of minutes to get out of the studio, and he'll tell you
That's right.
anything you need to know.
Thanks, Bruce. We'll be
See you
right
next
back.
week.